Another day, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. Another day, just believe.
Hey guys, how's it going? Steph Davis here from flipthiswholesaler.net. Saturday night again, I have another Saturday night reader mail question for you guys. My question this evening comes from Armando. Armando writes, "What's up, Steph? I've got a question for you about estimating repairs. Where or how did you learn to estimate repairs for the houses you make offers on? I'm kind of hung up on this because I don't really have any experience with rehabs. Any suggestions? Thanks, Armando." Sorry. So the question about estimating repairs, I remember when I was just getting started, this was something that scared the crap out of me because I had no rehab experience. Well, actually I did 2 rehabs and I did an absolutely horrific job. I had no clue what I was doing. So that was a big issue for me, was thinking that or worrying about not being able to estimate repairs correctly on my wholesale deals. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I've been doing this for 3 years now, wholesaling for 3 years, and I truthfully have absolutely no clue how much anything costs. That's the honest to God truth. I'm not making this up. I don't know how much a new roof costs, flooring, paint, carpet, AC unit. I have no clue. And I haven't really had the need to. Now I can tell you if the roof needs to be replaced just by looking at it, or if it's an older roof, I can tell you if the AC unit, the compressor, is missing from outside. I can tell you if it needs new flooring or new paint, new exterior paint, but I have absolutely no clue how much any of that costs. And like I said, I haven't really had the need to. Most of my buyers, actually, I very rarely, actually, I can't even think of the last time that when I sent a deal to someone, they said, "Can you give me a repair estimate?" It doesn't happen, with me anyway. Now, I'll tell people what kind of condition it's in. Like, I'll just say, it looks like an older roof, the AC compressor's missing from outside, stuff like that. But as far as giving someone a specific dollar amount, I've never done it that way. And I've never had anyone request that. So if you're hung up on that, honestly, it really isn't a big deal. I've been doing this, like I said, for 3 years, and I've gotten along just fine without having to learn exactly how to estimate repair costs. Now, if you're going to be rehabbing, that's obviously a completely different story. I just wanted to give you an example too of one of the reasons why sometimes it doesn't even matter what your rehab estimate is, because each person that you sell it to is going to number one, they're going to have different exit strategies, whether it be to keep it as a rental or to rehab it and retail it. And then even the people that keep them as rentals, or the people that are going to be rehabbing them, everybody does their rehabs a different way. And one example that I always tell people is, I think this was last year, and I wholesaled 2 properties, and they were right across the street from each other. One to one guy and one to another guy. Their names were both Jim, coincidentally. And these were in the hood, like in one of the worst parts of Tampa, in Sulphur Springs. And I wholesaled one house to each of these guys. The guys didn't know each other before, but they somehow met. They walked across I don't know how they met, because they were both doing rehabs at the same time. And they got to talking, and they found out that I wholesale, that they had me in common because I wholesaled a property to each one of them. And both of the guys actually called me, because I became friends with both of them. And the one guy, Jim, we'll call him Cheap Jim, he called me and was like, "Man, I can't believe that guy Jim across the street. He's putting in granite and like all this high-end stuff, and this is in the hood." I sold him this house for like $24,000. So that's how he did his rehab. And then Cheap Jim, like, probably didn't do anything to it at all. Like, he's kind of a slumlord. So it just kind of goes to show you, like, what good is my rehab estimate going to do when there's one guy who is putting in granite in a property in the hood, and the guy across the street is doing next to nothing. So It's kind of a long story to prove my point, but you get the picture. The one thing that you don't want to do, though, and this is something that I'm always very sure of, if I send a buyer out to a property and it's a complete piece of crap, I always let them know. You don't want to say, oh, you know, and I see this happen all the time. A lot of wholesalers, I don't know if they think that the person's not going to notice that the house is falling down, but they'll say, oh, you know, it's in pretty good shape. It's just, you know, needs some cosmetics, and then you get there and it's collapsing in on itself. And I've actually, as a matter of fact, had that happen to me. This was when I was just getting started, and I called on a sign, a bandit sign, and it was a girl wholesaler, and really, really cheap property. It was a concrete block house. It was on a decent street, and I think she was selling it for like $30,000, which at the time was just unheard of, a concrete block house for $30,000. So I spoke with her and was asking her about, you know, what kind of condition it was in. She said it needed, you know, it needs a full rehab. It's in, well, I think she said it needed a full rehab. And I got there, and it was like there was still smoke. It was a burnout. It had, you know, caught on fire, and the whole, I mean, it was just completely, that's just something that you probably, she did say it needs a full rehab, but if the house caught on fire the night before, it's something that you might want to mention to someone. Or like if the roof is caving in or stuff like that, you don't want to be, you know, BSing people and telling them it's a cosmetic fixer when in reality it's a complete piece of crap and needs a full rehab. So you don't want to be wasting people's time, number one, and number two, as soon as they get to the house, they're going to find out that that's not the case. So long story short, my answer to your, you know, your dilemma is don't worry too much about it. I mean, as long as you can go into a house or look at a house and be able to tell that the roof needs to be replaced, or, you know, if stuff is missing, like I said, the AC compressor or something like that, that's what I tell people. I don't ever give a specific dollar amount, and I have really no interest in learning what those dollar amounts are because I just don't care. It doesn't apply to my business at all. So anyway, that's how I do things. I don't know if that helps you or not, but just try not to get too stressed out about that. You really don't. There's no need for you to know every single dollar amount on every repair that can be done. And if you want to find that out just for your own knowledge, you can always, a good idea, this is something I tell people to do, is go to a RIA meeting and do some networking and find some rehabbers that are there, which there 9 times out of 10, there's always a couple rehabbers there, and see if they have any projects going on, and just ask if you could meet them out at the project and see if they'll walk you through and kind of point some stuff out, and, you know, bring in a notepad and write some stuff down, and maybe compensate them, take them to lunch or something like that. But that's a great way to learn some rehab estimates or some strategies for estimating rehabs. And most rehabbers enjoy what they do, so I've found that they usually like to talk about, you know, they would have no problem, not everybody, but, you know, taking you around their rehab and showing you what they're doing and how much everything costs. So anyway, I hope that answered your question, Armando. If anyone wants to, has any other questions or wants to add to this, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer. And I'll see you guys next Saturday. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.